Over the past 2 games, Nabi has proven to us that he is an unpredictable coach, having a different system for each of the games that he has played, and number 2, also playing different players. But who is he going to play in this game against Mamelodi Sundowns? Well, let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Khosi Nation Fan TV. I am Pelo, I am your host, and this is where fans meet and talk about Kaizer Chiefs. Khosi Football Club. All right. System, the starting formation, 4-2-3-1. We're still going to have a back 4, a flat 2 in midfield, and then a 10, a right winger, left winger, and a number 9. But who exactly is going to play in those positions? I think we start with the obvious one, the goalkeeper. Fiacre plays in that position. And the second one, right back, is going to be right Frosler. Reef Frosler. We've talked about Frosler and the fact that in the previous game he was being reviewed and being looked at, and the coach was wanting him to improve. And we saw that to even get the best out of him, he even changed his way that he wants to include him in the game, playing him in the flat back three rather than having him overlap on the right. So we see that the role of Reef Frosler has already changed. The way that they want to play with Frosler is not the same way that they would play with Solomons. If they were to play with Solomons, that means they would have to change the way they are playing across. But they can't do that because they are playing across the way they are playing him, because Usirino inverts into midfield. That means we need someone else who's going to give us width. But Frosler does not need to overlap, because usually someone on the right will be the one who's going to be staying wide and giving us width. Now, go check the video out of how Nabi is already making Kaizer Chiefs dangerous. That video, I released it earlier today. Now, when we go to the center back pairing, Inacio Miguel, Rashun totally nothing to even talk about there. I do think, though, I'll just throw this out there, those two guys need to communicate even better, because we saw that in the goal that we conceded against Amazulu, they left a gap between the two of them. And once again, if you refer to the video that I'm talking about, they were not doing it for the first time. It happened twice in that game, and one of those times we got punished. It wasn't just twice, but it was the 2 times where big opportunities were there. So the communication between the two needs to improve. Left back position, we saw another player, which is Bradley Cross, a bit shaken in the game against Amazulu. I do not know what happened to him in that game, but we know he's a quality player. We saw him against Maromo Gallants. He just needs to get a talking to, hey, listen, relax, especially since this game is going to be even bigger. In Moses Mapida, I think only 35,000 tickets were sold, and so far, last I checked, the tickets that have been sold for this game, it's like 52,000, so that's a lot. And the pressure and everyone just screaming and shouting, I hope it doesn't get to him. Don't think it did, because in Toyota Stadium, it was still a lot of people. Anyways, let's go to midfield, the double pivot, which is where people are going to start shouting and screaming. Before we do that, though, please do make sure to like the video if you're a returning viewer. We are trying to get 1,000 views, not views. We're trying to get 1,000 likes per video. So if you see that the likes are saying 900, get more, and let's go beyond 1,000, in fact. And if you are new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Now let's talk about the double pivot, because we've heard the coach talk about the fact that, hey, maybe Umthetho will play in the next game, and people have said, I know this and that, and we know that Uplomu fitness issues. What is Nabi going to do? This is what I think is going to happen. I think Uplomu, as much as he still has problems with his fitness, I think he still starts, because a Blom who's 50% fit will at least give you stability even for the first half, and then you can take him out in the second half. So we need that stability, because we don't want Sundowns to overwhelm us early on. So he starts, but who does he start alongside? Now, number 1, Umthetho is not going to start. Reason being, Chiefs will also be looking to play the ball and try to connect the dots, connect the passes and progress the ball forward. And that's not Umthetho's strength. Not good to Nkomo, it's just not his strength, right? And because of that leaves Samgelo, no Yusuf Mart, no Castillo. 3 players. If you look at Samgelo Zwane, his problem defensively not that great, and Sundowns overloads the midfield with 4, sometimes with 5 players. So the running around Samgelo has not done that much of that. Number 2, you have Edson Castillo, who has come on in the 2 games, and in the one against Maromo Gallants, he did kind of sort of stabilize that midfield. So you can give him a shout and put him there on the side, because he's also comfortable on the ball when we are building. And then you have the club captain, who's obviously I think one of the most divisive figure in the Kaizer Chiefs fan fraternity, because a lot of people think he's not doing anything, but some people are still saying, hey, he's doing something. And I'm standing in a line where I'm saying, when I look at Matt's defensive work, which is something that we're going to need against Sundowns, and also his just ability at times to be the captain and be the leader in the field of play, it kind of overshadows the whole thing of him maybe misplacing passes here and there, because I don't see the thing of he's losing balls all the time. That's what people were saying last year. But this season, it's not that much. I've not seen that much. So I will stand here and I will sit here, because I'm sitting, and say, I think Yusuf Mart still starts, because one is a club captain, and number two, you cannot honestly tell me that Castillo has performed better than Mart so far this season. Maybe he can come in later on and continue to win that from Umart and be a starter, but currently Umart is still ahead of Castillo. Crucify me on the comments. Number 10 position, we know who it is. Pam, 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 pam. If you didn't say Mtu Shabalala, I do not know who else you think is going to play at 10. And in the left wing position, we're obviously going to have Gaston Sereno, and we know that's his starting position. He always inverts into midfield. And I hope that Gaston Sereno, one thing that must be done is do not let that game get into your head, because Sereno Vele in general, he's like that passionate guy. You can tell Uguti he wants to win all the time. And he's playing against the Sundowns, a team that did him wrong, right? They just benched him. He has love for them, but also there's also the thing of wanting to prove yourself against your former team. And with him having short temper, together with Ignacio, by the way, their short tempers must not get ahead of them, because this game, if you have a player who's going to be smart about it, they can get into them. Like Ripero Costa, he's one of those players who can get you a red card because he can just make sure that he winds you up. So I hope it doesn't get there, and I hope Nabi talks to those two, because I've seen that their discipline sometimes gets out of hand a bit. Okay, now this is a position that has been changed twice, the right wing position, because firstly, we started with Usile in the first game. He didn't deliver, even coming on as a second half, as a sub in the last game, playing as a left winger. He did not deliver. And then they played Duba in that position. And then for the first few minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes, he played well. But then when it comes to pressing and making sure that our press is good enough, like we're proper, he did not do the things. And that's a bit problematic, which is why I then think we might see another change in that position again. I don't think that Utuba will be coming back, which leaves us a lot of options, right? Because we have Tebo Khopotsane, but he's just returned from injury. We have Mamelodi, who's not been named in the, I think he was there in the reserves in the previous game. We also have, why am I forgetting this other player? Ashley Dupree. Now, I don't think it's going to be Dupree. You know why? Because I think Dupree might be saved for second half to come in for Ranga. That's what we've been seeing him do. But I wouldn't mind seeing him play as a right winger, because he offers speed, he covers Ufrosla, he helps Ufrosla with the marking, he has energy. And if we are playing the ball in behind, then he can run into those spaces. But seeing how the coach wants to utilize him more as a person who's playing through the middle, then I have my doubts that he might start. So having said that, I then think that since the Kaizer Chiefs will be playing Umtu already as a 10, one of the youngsters, and Ukros now you can call him relatively young, I think that I won't be shocked if the coach actually finally starts Upulemodi this time around as a right winger. But Nayo, I think it's highly unlikely, which might end up being Mfundo Vilakazi. But now Mfundo Vilakazi, I don't think it would be him, because too much pressure from the beginning to play that game. That is why I'm saying the player that I'm leaning towards at this moment is, I think that it would be Upulemodi, although personally I wouldn't mind, and I would actually prefer if it was Ashley Dupree. Number 9, we know it's going to be Ranga. Who else could it be? And he did score in the previous game, so the whole thing of he needs to score, he has done it. But what do you think? How do you think Chiefs will set up, specifically in the number 6 and the right wing position? Do let me know down on the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, remember, equals Alpelumoy.